Minimalism is more than just a design aesthetic or a movement about decluttering your home. At its core, minimalism is a philosophy of intentional living, choosing less so that you can have more of what truly matters. In a world that constantly demands our attention and energy, minimalism is about making space, not just in our physical surroundings, but in our minds and our schedules. One of the most powerful tools in the minimalist's toolkit is the ability to say no. It sounds simple, but for many of us, saying no is one of the hardest things to do. We want to be helpful, to be liked, or perhaps we fear missing out. But every time we say yes to something that doesn't align with our values or priorities, we're saying no to something else, often to ourselves and the things that matter most. Protecting your time is an act of self-care and self-respect. It starts with recognizing that your time is finite and precious. Each day offers only so many hours, and once they're gone, they cannot be reclaimed. Minimalism encourages us to guard our time fiercely, to invest it in activities, relationships, and pursuits that bring us joy, growth, and fulfillment. The first step in protecting your time is to get clear on your values. What is truly important to you? Is it quality time with family, creative pursuits, personal growth, or perhaps building a meaningful career? When you know what matters, it becomes easier to identify the invitations, requests, and opportunities that align with your purpose, and, just as importantly, those that don't. Next, practice the art of saying no gracefully. Remember, saying no doesn't mean you're being rude or unkind. It simply means you're honoring your priorities. You can decline with gratitude and politeness. "Thank you so much for thinking of me, but I have to pass this time." Or, "I appreciate the invitation, but I'm focusing on other commitments right now." The key is to be firm but gentle, clear but compassionate. Minimalism is also about reducing the mental clutter that comes from overcommitting. When our schedules are packed with obligations, we lose the space for spontaneity, creativity, and rest. By saying no more often, we create breathing room in our lives. We open up opportunities to recharge, to pursue passions, or simply to be present with the people we love. Another important aspect is learning to let go of guilt. Many of us feel guilty when we say no, worried that we'll let someone down or miss an opportunity. But remember, every yes that isn't genuine is a disservice both to you and to others. When you say no, you're making room for someone else who may be better suited for the task, and you're preserving your own energy for what truly matters. Minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's about making conscious choices. It's about filling your life with meaning, not with more things or more commitments. By saying no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to the life you want to create. So, take a moment to reflect on your own commitments. Where are you spending your time and energy? Are there areas where you could practice saying no, even just a little more often? Remember that protecting your time is not selfish, it's essential. When you live more simply and intentionally, you have more to give to the people and passions that matter most. Embrace minimalism not just in your surroundings, but in your calendar and your mind. Let each no be a step toward a more meaningful, fulfilling life. In the end, by saying no to the noise, you're saying yes to yourself. Embracing minimalism is a deeply personal journey, one that often leads to greater clarity, peace of mind, and intentional living. But what happens when you, inspired to simplify your life, find yourself surrounded by friends and family whose lifestyles couldn't be more different? Navigating these differences can be both rewarding and challenging. Here's how you can gracefully deal with non-minimalist loved ones while staying true to your values. First, remember that minimalism is a choice, not a mandate. It's easy to feel enthusiastic about the benefits you've experienced. Less clutter, more freedom, a greater sense of purpose. However, it's important to honor the fact that everyone is on their own unique path. Just as your journey toward minimalism was born from your own experiences and desires, so too are the choices of your friends and family. Start by cultivating empathy. Instead of judging or trying to change others, focus on understanding where they're coming from. Maybe their possessions represent cherished memories, or perhaps they find comfort in their collections and surroundings. Rather than seeing these differences as obstacles, View them as opportunities to deepen your relationships. Open communication is key. When loved ones question your choices, respond with honesty and kindness. Share what minimalism means to you and how it has positively impacted your life, but avoid sounding preachy or superior. Use I statements to express your feelings, such as, "I've found that owning less helps me feel less stressed," instead of, "You have too much stuff." By framing your perspective as a personal journey rather than a universal truth, you invite curiosity rather than defensiveness. When it comes to shared spaces, like a family home or a shared apartment, compromise becomes essential. Minimalism doesn't mean imposing your preferences on everyone else. Instead, discuss your needs and listen to theirs. For example, you might agree to keep common areas tidy while allowing your partner or roommate to maintain their personal spaces as they wish. In family settings, respect the traditions and sentimental items that matter to others, even if they don't align with your aesthetic. Finding a balance between your desire for simplicity and their love for abundance is crucial for harmony. Gift giving can be a particularly sensitive issue. Friends and family may show love through material presents, and your minimalist approach might seem confusing or even hurtful. To navigate this, express your preference for experiences or consumables, like a shared meal or a favorite treat, rather than physical objects. If you do receive gifts that don't fit your lifestyle, accept them graciously. Remember, it's the thought that counts, and you can always declutter later without guilt. Social gatherings often present another challenge. Parties, holidays, and celebrations can be filled with excess, decorations, food, and, of course, gifts. Approach these situations with flexibility. Participate in the joy and togetherness, focusing on the relationships rather than the material aspects. Offer to help plan or contribute in ways that reflect your minimalist values, such as suggesting a potluck or organizing a white elephant gift exchange with a spending limit. Above all, lead by example. The most powerful way to inspire others is by living authentically. As friends and family observe the positive changes minimalism brings to your life, more time, less stress, increased happiness, they may become curious and even inspired to explore simplicity themselves. Be patient. Change rarely happens overnight. In the end, dealing with non-minimalist friends and family isn't about convincing them to follow your path. It's about respecting differences, nurturing relationships, and creating a life that feels right for you. By practicing empathy, open communication, and compromise, you can maintain strong bonds with your loved ones while staying true to your minimalist values. Remember, minimalism is about making space for what truly matters, and that often includes the people you love, just as they are. Living minimally with kids, many parents wonder if it's truly possible. In a world full of toys, gadgets, and endless distractions, embracing a minimalist lifestyle with children can seem daunting. But the truth is, minimalism isn't about depriving your family of joy or essentials. It's about making thoughtful choices, cultivating clarity, and fostering meaningful connections. With intention and creativity, living minimally with kids can not only work, but it can also open the door to deeper experiences and calmer homes. First, let's redefine what minimalism means for families. It isn't about stark white walls and empty shelves. For parents, minimalism is about prioritizing what matters most: time, relationships, and experiences, while reducing unnecessary clutter and stress. It's about teaching kids to value quality over quantity and to appreciate the little things. Minimalism looks different for every family, and it evolves as children grow. One of the biggest hurdles is the sheer volume of stuff that comes with parenting: toys, clothes, books, art supplies, and gear for every stage. The key is to be selective. Start by involving your kids in the process of decluttering. Let them help decide which toys they truly love and which ones can be donated. This practice not only reduces clutter, but also teaches children about gratitude, generosity, and decision-making. When it comes to toys, choose fewer high-quality items that inspire imagination and creativity. Open-ended toys, such as building blocks, art materials, and costumes, encourage kids to invent their own games and stories, rather than rely on battery-powered entertainment. Rotating toys and keeping only a handful accessible at a time helps children focus and reduces overwhelm, making playtime more meaningful. Clothing is another area ripe for simplification. Instead of overflowing drawers, create a capsule wardrobe for each child, focusing on versatile, comfortable pieces they truly enjoy wearing. Not only does this make mornings easier, but it also helps children learn to care for their belongings and make mindful choices. Minimalism also extends to schedules. Today's families often feel pressured to fill every moment with activities and outings, but slowing down and leaving room for unstructured time allows kids to rest, reflect, and explore their interests. It's in these quieter moments that creativity blossoms and family bonds grow stronger. Of course, challenges will arise. Birthdays, holidays, and visits from generous relatives can bring an influx of gifts and new items. Communicate your family's values clearly and suggest alternatives, such as experiences, memberships, or contributions to savings accounts, instead of physical presents. When new things do come in, practice the one-in, one-out rule. For every new item, let go of something old. Minimalism doesn't mean saying no to fun or memories. In fact, it encourages families to focus on shared experiences rather than possessions. Plan simple outings, picnics in the park, nature walks, or game nights at home. These moments create lasting memories and teach children that joy comes from being together, not from having more. Ultimately, living minimally with kids is a journey, not a destination. The goal isn't perfection, but progress. As children grow, involve them in conversations about needs versus wants, and model mindful consumption. Celebrate the freedom that comes from having less clutter, less chaos, and less stress, so you can enjoy more of what truly matters. Minimalism with kids is possible, and its rewards are profound. It offers families the chance to slow down, connect, and create a home that is calm, intentional, and full of love. By embracing less, you give your children more: the space to thrive, the time to dream, and the wisdom to appreciate the world around them.